right, for a little bit of hockey. The Firebirds are on home ice for the second time this week and ready for their only visit of the season from the Oshawa Generals. Time to get revved up for what's always a special night, Hockey Fights Cancer Night in Flint, as we've got the Firebirds and the Generals. Flint Firebirds hockey is on the air, and it starts right now. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the broadcast booth for our pregame show, driven by Shea Automotive. Here to tell you this story, I'm Brian Gardner. We've got the Firebirds and the Oshawa Generals. Flint on home ice for the second time this season, this week I should say, and coming off of a tough loss and a disappointing one on Wednesday against the Kitchener Rangers. Now that dropped the Firebirds' record on home ice this season to 1-2-0-0. And this evening, they welcome a team with some pretty big aspirations, one of the preseason favorites out of the Eastern Conference, the Oshawa Generals. Oshawa's only visit to Flint this season. The Generals, a team that's off to a bit of a slow start. They're coming off of a win on the road last night in Sarnia in a shootout 4-3. Now that was a game that felt like they really needed. With that slow start and a tough one going into what's a busy weekend for the Generals, the Firebirds are hoping that that's not going to lift them to really just Memorial Cup quality play right off the jump, and that they can kick them right back down and keep them towards the basement of the Eastern Conference and scratching their heads. Flint on the other side of things, it's been a little bit up and down, but you hope that they can put Wednesday behind them and get back to some winning ways. Before we jump too far into the matchup between these two teams, let's take a look at what they did in each of those last two games. We'll begin on Wednesday here in Flint. First period, Birds on the power play. Cycle the puck to Nolan Collins. That gets through, just not the post. Rang it off the iron, scoreless after one in Flint. Later, though, in the second, power play again, 5-on-3, Caden Petrie. Money from the right circle, his third of the season. Flint on the board. Now Matthew Wang, look what I found. Wang from the high slot, buries it top shelf. Wang's first of the season, and it's 2-0 Birds. Kitchener to answer, though. Trent Swick, his first game of the year, his first goal of the year. That makes it 2-1. Later, Swick with the initial shot here, turned away by Day. Adrian Misiljevic, though, on the rebound. Misiljevic bangs it home, and the score is 2-2. In the third, it's that man again. You cannot lose track of Trent Swick, and the Birds did just that. Just inside the left circle, Swick converts on the one-timer, his second of the game. That ends up being the difference. Kitchener wins it by a final score of 3-2. Oshawa was in Sarnia last night against the Sting. Nothing notable in the first, so we start in the second period. Sarnia to get on the board first. Lucas Fisher driving the net. Nifty little placement there, and the Sting are up 1-0. Sarnia will make that 2-0. A couple minutes later, Alessandro Diorio on the rebound. Look at the big grin. It is his first OHL goal. The Stinger in business and up 2-0. Oshawa to answer, though, late second on a power play. Tyler Graham on the back door, camped in front of the net, shoved that baby home to make it 2-1. To the third, first minute of the third, throw it on net. Where's the puck? Look who found it. It's in, Luca Morelli, and the game is tied at 2. Later in the third, loose puck to the front of the net. Tyson Doucette puts it in this time, and the Sting are on top 3-2 with the Generals to tie it. Tyler O'Toole grabbed it in stride, into the zone, flick of the wrist. It's a 3-3 hockey game. Off we go eventually to a shootout. Colby Barlow has no points so far for Oshawa, but he finishes here and gives them a 2-0 advantage on the shootout. Last chance for Sarnia, and in his first OHL game, Isaac Gravel slams the door, and Oshawa takes the extra point by a final score of 4-3. Taking a look at these two teams and how they compare, we mentioned the Generals are off to a bit of a slow start. You see the goal differential -6, 18 goals for, 24 goals against. Firebirds with a 1-goal differential, 16 for, 15 against. Power play's been solid. Penalty kill still being dinged by that first game on the road in London, during which it went just 4 for 8. Off a 3 for 4 outing, though, sitting at 75%. It is improving quite a bit for the Firebirds. Looking at the standings, as we finally got enough separation to where they might mean something. And it's a bit strange to see Oshawa sitting in 9th place out of playoff position. We mentioned just 2-3-1-0. The Generals off of that win, though. And look at the Niagara Ice Dogs, the surprise of the Eastern Conference so far. 4-1-0-0 sitting atop the Eastern Conference standings. Peterborough's really struggling in last place. Out west, the Birds smack in the middle and a tie for 5th place at 3-2-0-0. 6 points. Windsor is the surprise of the Western Conference standings. 11 points to lead the way at 5-0-1-0. But of course, it's tight in the middle. Oh, she does be early here in the OHL 2024-25 season. Firebirds still with plenty of room to climb on up. So the Firebirds and the Oshawa Generals here this evening. These two teams only see each other twice a season. This is the only visit the Generals will make here to Flint. So for the Firebirds, they're hoping to be rude guests and send them packing, wishing that they don't really want to return anytime soon. Hey, don't go anywhere. We've got a really good matchup and a lot more to talk about as we roll along on the pregame show. We'll take a look at the lineups for both teams, our players to watch on both sides, and get you a little bit closer and revved up, ready for a puck drop for the Firebirds and the Oshawa Generals. This is the pregame show driven by Shea Automotive, and we're live here on FHN.
The Shea Mega Lot is GM's #1 certified Car Bravo dealer. Here's what it's all about. With Car Bravo, all makes and models up to 10 years and 100,000 miles come with a 6-month, 6,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranty. Like this. 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 Ford, Audi, Lexus, Ram, Toyota, Jeep, Lincoln. The time is now to take advantage of the #1 certified GM Car Bravo warranty. Imagine where you could go. Just saying.
Birds, Generals, here on a Saturday evening at the Dort Financial Center. They're still making their way in on Hockey Fights Cancer Night. Birds are going to be wearing specialty jerseys. They'll be auctioned off live post-game with proceeds benefiting the McLaren Flint Foundation. Let's take a look at the lineup for these games as we begin with the Oshawa Generals. Now the Generals, they're starting to get their guys. Beckett Seneca back in the lineup after he missed the first week or so. Colby Barlow, of course, there on the left wing. Still minus Callum Ritchie, who is in the NHL as a Colorado Avalanche, getting some version at least of that 10-game tryout in the National Hockey League. Made his debut on Wednesday. And Oster back in the lineup. The overage goaltender will be the starting netminder here for the Oshawa Generals. Our players to watch will begin with the Columbus Blue Jackets prospects. On the blue line, it's Luca Morelli. Morelli's off to a hot start. 4 goals and 4 assists in 6 games. And that's from the blue line. He leads this team in points. He's tied for first in goals. So Columbus snagged him in the 3rd round of the 2024 NHL draft. Not surprising to see his output. He had 6 goals and 51 assists last season, and he's picked up right where he left off, just maybe putting the puck in the net a little bit more frequently. Morelli is an offensive defenseman on the blue line. To another prospect, Beckett Seneca, #3 overall draft pick in the 2024 NHL draft. Now he, last season, had really good numbers, 27 goals and 41 helpers in 63 games. He's off to a slow start, but he's only played in 2 games, yet to find the score sheet. Of course, Seneca went viral for his reaction when the Ducks took him 3rd overall. More on that later tonight, but big things expected for Beckett Seneca here this season as an Oshawa General. And Colby Barlow, he was the prize, well documented. His trade from the Owen Sound Attack to the Oshawa Generals made that trade request out of Owen Sound after he finished up NHL camp, and Oshawa paid a big price to get him, and you can see why. He is off to a slow start as well, just 3 games in, no points yet, but definitely flashes. Hey, 11 shots on goal yesterday in Sarnia. I was talking to my counterpart from Oshawa, Jack Moore, who said, hey, he could have had 4 goals last night against Sarnia, and he did score in the shootout. We know he can put the puck in the net. It's only a matter of time before he does that for the Gens. Taking a look at the Firebirds lineup, the big thing you're going to see on your screen is the absence of Connor Clattenburg. Clattenburg day-to-day with an upper body injury after leaving the game on Wednesday. So things shuffled up a little bit for the Firebirds here this evening. Notably, Jeremy Martin on the top line, centered by Petrie and Thibodeau. Josh Colosimo, Max Anderson, both in on the 4th line. Colosimo did not play on Wednesday. Anderson picked up his first point. Matthew Wang moving over to center, and Cole Zarowski up from the 4th line to the 3rd line for the Firebirds. Our players to watch for Flint. Let's start with Nolan Collins. Boy, how good has he been this season? Points in all but one game he's played as a Flint Firebird. He's tied for the team lead with 7 of them, 2 goals and 5 helpers. Now, for Collins, he's been exactly what you would have hoped for ever since he was acquired by the Sudbury Wolves in that offseason trade, overage defenseman. The thing that'll be interesting to see is if he keeps up the point pace as we get deeper into the season. You know that he can put the points on the scoreboard. You know he's steady in his own zone. Collins has been an absolute gem of a find for the Firebirds for his overage season. Now, we mentioned Jeremy Martin and showing off that he's on that top line left wing. Now, he's yet to put the puck in the net and yet to find the score sheet this season. Off to a slow start, but the process has been there. You expect he might fill some of the void with Clattenburg out with that upper body injury. Martin, the top line left wing today. He's been out there on the power play at times this season as well. It's only a matter of time. Points to come for him, the second-year Flint Firebird who had 13 goals in his rookie season last year. And, boy, not waiting on any points from Chris Thibodeau. He's tied for the team lead with 7 of them, a goal and 6 assists. And, boy, is he dynamic, really kind of drives some play offensively every time he's on the ice. Thibodeau's familiar with Oshawa and vice versa. Last season he played 8 games against them as a Kingston Frontenac. A goal and 3 helpers. We'll see if he can build upon that in his first time against Oshawa wearing the Flint Firebird sweater. See if he can spark some offense here this evening for the Firebirds. Yes, indeed, we have the Firebirds and the Oshawa Generals as Flint and Oshawa. The first of 2 meetings between these 2 teams this season. Firebirds and Generals, a couple of teams that, when you kind of look around the league, maybe some teams that stick out as you as someone who might be a bit of a contender. Oshawa definitely number 3 in the preseason power rankings from the Ontario Hockey League. Flint was number 8. These are 2 teams that you'd expect are going to take off hopefully at some point. And the Birds and the Generals trying to kick each other while they're off to maybe not as hot of a start as either team would have hoped. Firebirds trying to keep them with a losing record. The Gens are 2-3-1-0. Flint trying to get back in the win column after a disappointing loss on Wednesday. Hey, stick around as we're going to step aside right now, but when we come back on the pregame show driven by Shea Automotive, we're going to have the starting lineup introductions. We'll have national anthems, O Canada and the Star Spangled Banner. Get you set for Puck Drop, which is coming up in just a few moments' time. Birds, Gens, after this on FHN.
Hello? Are you there? The Shea Megalot is hosting their annual pre-owned lease pull-ahead. Are you upside down on your trade?
Over on your miles?
We'll buy your car.
Don't just turn your lease in.
We'll buy your car.
Is your current payment too high?
We'll buy your car.
Trapped in your lease?
We'll buy your car.
Not in the market for a car?
We'll still buy your car.
Are your service bills adding up?
We'll buy your car.
Bad credit?
We'll buy your car. Plus, the Shea Megalot has over 500 pre-owned and certified vehicles to choose from. Just Shea'n.